Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of Learning from Men podcast, where I'm on a mission to learn from men to better serve men. I am so excited for our guest today, my brother Omari Hughes out of Maryland at New Life Church. I'm so thankful for him. I recently got to know him through my sister. I'm gonna say my favorite sister. She's my only sister, my favorite sister, and she has become even much more my favorite because she did this introduction with Omari and myself. And so, Omari, I always like to let the men introduce themselves, talk about your wife, what you do, whatever you want to share. Thank you again for being on.
Man, I'm honored to be here, man. I gotta thank your sister too for making the link. I've been thanking her since, man, and letting her know. And even when you were kind enough to invite me to spend some time with you today, man, I hit her up. I said, man, I'm gonna go play with your brother
Yeah.
later on this month. So I'm honored to be here. Yeah, man. I'm real quick, man. I'm a Virginia boy originally, man, from Richmond, and I'm a pastor in Maryland, church planter, and and love what I do, man. Love to serve people and love ministry, love pastor. And I'm a dad to a 13-year-old boy. So y'all keep me lifted. Y'all pray real hard for me. He's 13. We thought about putting him up for auction, but we figured we'll just keep him a little bit longer. No, but he's wonderful, man. Khalil is his name, Khalil Omari, and then. I'm married to the love of my life, Natalie. We've been married for this year be 16 years, and so really grateful for that and grateful for who she is. And man, I'm a simple dude, man. But that's me in a nutshell. I think that's kind of what matters most.
Hey, man, kudos to church planning. There's nothing like it. It is
There
nothing
isn't.
like church. So I respect that. Hey, I know being a pastor, crazy schedule, your husband, father. What's your favorite way to just spend Saturday when you have zero responsibilities? You have nothing to do. What do you do?
I honestly, man, I sit outside. So I have a deck side garden. I have a pretty good sized garden right now going on our deck. My wife told me earlier this summer. She said, "Man, I'm gonna have to put you on a budget for this gardening mess, man. It's getting ridiculous." But I, man, I'm honest. I'm kind of at the place, man, where so much of my life and so much of my schedule is, taken up by the work that I do and what I'm called to do. I really enjoy, man, kicking back on the deck and reading, man, and just sitting outside in nature. It recharges me. I'm an introvert actually by nature. I love people, absolutely love people, but I am introverted, so I need to be by myself in order to recharge. And being outside in nature, quiet, reading particularly, is something that I absolutely love to do. So that's kind of how I chill out when I can.
Nice. Hey, if you could have dinner with any man from history, who would it be and why, other than Jesus?
I knew, yes, I know. Hey, yo, you know what? You know what? I tried to figure. I was like, man, it's so churchy to say Jesus. I ain't doing it. But I, but I, I think for me, it probably would be my paternal grandfather. Man, he
Okay.
passed. He passed before I got to meet him before I was born, and I would love to meet him. I think it would just be. I have so many questions, man, about just my dad from his perspective as a dad, that I feel like it would just help me to learn more about my family, where I come from, who I am. And so while there are lots of very interesting, famous people that I know I could think of and incredible humans, it would just mean a lot to me, man, to have I've met him, to be able to talk to him and find out a little bit more about who I am and who we are as a family. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great answer. That's probably who I would pick. I pick my grandfather or my great grandfather, probably maybe my dad's dad. That would
Hmm.
probably be who I would lean into as well. Um,
Yeah.
looking back, what is one thing you wish someone had told you about being a man when you were younger?
Uh, Ecclesiastes is real. The good dude does not always win. That is I think hard work doesn't always land you a victory. Um, Giving it your best shot doesn't mean that you're gonna always walk away with with the trophy. You know, defeat is something that the most prepared, the most qualified, the most patient, and the best at their craft still experience. And I think that was one of the more shocking things for me to kind of come into. I really thought, man, due to my own ignorance, immaturity, and youth, that we really are kind of responsible for where we are. And what I've learned in life, man, is that it rains on both the just and the unjust. And so sometimes, man, people have done everything right, and they've simply encountered a cloudy day, and it's nothing but the grace of God that keeps all of us from being, soaking wet and worn out. I think that is a lesson that I would have liked to have known when I was younger, so that I could understand that you don't work hard and do the right thing because you're trying to get a particular outcome. You work hard and you do the right thing because it is the right thing,
Mm.
and you have an inherent conviction that even if this doesn't produce what I may want it to produce, I'm gonna go about it the right way, right? Uh, that is a shift I think that I would have liked to have been able to make earlier, but again, due to my immaturity and due to my youth, man, I had to live through some life to get there.
Yeah, that makes me immediately think about the verse where it talks about work is unto the Lord.
Yeah,
Like I'm just showing up because it's the right thing to do. I'm doing this for God's glory and not mine. And whatever He wants to give me out of this, I'm
yep.
I'm
That,
open
that's how
hands.
that's exactly how you have to live. And then let me tell
Yeah.
you this just because I just preached it, just because I was just preaching here, I think you as a pastor, you'll play with this. So I've been doing a lot of work on love recently. Been feeling called to preach and teach a lot about love and look at examples of love in Scripture. And so this past week we looked at the story of the prodigal son. And one of the things that I found fascinating is at the very beginning of this story that Jesus tells to illustrate what his love for us is like, even while we're lost. He says that there's a son who tells his dad, "I want my inheritance right now." Now, the study that I did in prep for that preaching helped me to see that that was one of the most disrespectful things that man could do to his dad.
Mm, yeah.
I mean, it's one of the highest levels of disrespect. He basically said to his dad, "You dead to me," right?
Hmm.
And shows his youth, shows his arrogance, shows his pride, self-justified in all the worst ways. And you know what the dad does? The dad just says, "Okay, man, go ahead." And it kind of grounded me in this, man, that like, you know, life is going to teach you like everything that you need to learn. And there are some lessons, right, that you're not going to learn until you kind of live through them. And that piece on hey man, you got to work as though it's unto the Lord is something that I had to live through to learn. And
Hmm.
uh and so yeah, I don't know. That just hit my mind when we were talking just now. Maybe
Yeah.
I hope I didn't
No.
go down a rabbit hole, man. My bad.
No, I think that's it because when I'm thinking about learning from men or having conversations with men, I think these are real things that sometimes we don't open up and just talk about. And
hmm
if you don't talk about it, I don't think you get down the road.
Oh, absolutely, man.
So even though we may not have an answer right now, we both are somewhere together in this conversation. Like, okay,
Yeah.
work is into the Lord. I need to
Yep.
learn that working hard doesn't get me. Like that helps us get down the road, and then somebody listening to this, like, oh, okay, these brothers, I've been
Yeah.
feeling that. I've been
Yeah.
wrestling with this thing.
Yeah. No, that's a great insight, man. And I really think, and this is probably a kingdom principle that I would ascribe to. I think a lot of times, man, victory comes through vulnerability. That in the process of being vulnerable enough to share our struggles, to talk about what we're living through and what we're learning through, where victory comes through that we're able to help others, we're able to share lessons learned, man. And I think particularly for men, that's a monster if you grew up like I grew up, man, where you as a man, you were allowed to be two things, angry and horny. you know
Yeah,
any other expression of emotion. I'm just
yeah, no, that's it. That's it.
any other expression of emotion was taboo, bro. You can't walk into the locker room and be like, guys, I'm feeling a little insecure about my shot today. I'm just, I'm questioning whether or not I deserve to be here. I'm not sure if I'm ready to, you can't do that, man.
No,
You can't say I'm
no.
sad. You know what I mean? Like you can express anger and all the emotions that are akin to it. You can express, sexual attraction and all the emotions that are akin, that all the feelings that come with that, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
vulnerability is such a it's a huge piece, I think, for men
yeah.
to explore, and know that you don't lose masculinity because you embrace vulnerability.
Right, right. You do not. You gain it. Actually, I think it makes you that much more stronger of a man when you can embrace that. And I wonder, even thinking about the prodigal son. Now, this is me going. This is going down a rabbit
See,
hole,
I
right?
love this. I love this. I love this.
Because even with the prodigal son, maybe if the prodigal son would have started asking questions about what was going on the inside of him, then maybe he could have got better direction versus having to go out there and learn it the hard way. Because I think
Absolutely.
sometimes that's what it is. It's like, oh, I didn't know how to express. And then, now the prodigal son is different, but sometimes it happens because my dad didn't know it.
That's
So
so good.
my dad wasn't able to help me flesh that out. And even so, even more, and this is, I'm supposed to let you talk, but let me just say this
No,
real quick.
this is good.
Like,
I love this, bro. This is what we do. This is fantastic.
I've been teaching relationship classes for 20 years or so. And one of the things that when I first started teaching these classes, I had to learn that men didn't know how to express themselves about what they were feeling. So we have this big old pink sheet that we would hand to the husbands, to the guys to help them because they didn't know anything. We always say angry and mad, but angry, mad, and horny, right? I'm
Yeah,
mad, I'm
no.
angry. I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
and so we now and so this past roundtable that we had, I'm telling the same because we had having the same conversation because we talking about mental health and stuff. There's
Yeah.
this guy I'm telling a story and he grabs his sheet. And my son was like, Dad, did you see his feeling sheet? It's like, because it's real. And in that moment, that young man probably was feeling something, I'm assuming now. And he didn't know how to verbalize it. And if he had a dad like my dad, who only knew the same two words, then you go out there and you have to learn it on your own. That's when
Bro,
divorce and things
absolutely.
like that happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And it has been a journey for me as a father too, to want to figure out how to teach my son something different than what I was taught. And let me be clear, because I want to make sure, like, I had and have, because he's still living. I have a phenomenal father, man. Just, I mean, great, great dad. But my dad was a product of his generation, man. My dad didn't say I love you. You know what I'm saying? My dad didn't do that. Like I knew, as a matter of fact, I mean, my bad, man. Get me out of this rabbit hole. But let me say this 30 seconds. I I knew I knew that God was moving in my life, and I knew that God was real for lots of tangible ways my life was changing, how I was thinking, and how the world saw to me was changing. But one of the more terrifying changes that happened was this overwhelming sense of just loving people. My heart
Mm,
for people just began to explode. So
yeah.
much so, let me tell you, bro. So you got to. I'm a product of a quasi-urban environment in Richmond, Virginia during the '90s, which was Richmond was a really rough town during the '90s. I didn't hear dudes say "I love you." I'm an adult. I've given my life to God. I'm in the Word, man. I'm in church, plugged in. God is starting to do things in my heart before that He's never done before. I'm checking out at the grocery register in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I pay the dude who's ringing me up. He gives me my money back. He says, "Have a nice day." I said, "Thank you, bruh. Man, I love you." I said, "Dude, what just happened?" Like, 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 I told, like, I was, it was like I wanted to cover my mouth and run out of that joint. And it kept happening, man. It's like,
Yeah.
and
Right.
now it's normal to me, man. Now it's
Right.
great for me to be like, "Man, Greg, it's great to see you, man. Love you, man. Hope you have a great day." You know what I'm
Man.
saying?
Yeah.
It's just a part of me now, but that it was a journey to get there, man.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
that vulnerable piece that we talking about in those
Right.
emotions, man.
Right, man. No, that's so good. Let me get us out this rabbit hole.
My fault, man. I'm sorry.
Why do you think it's so important for a leader to actually know himself, his strengths and his flaws?
That's so good. I'll answer that question this way. As a pastor, one of the questions that I get all the time is folks, by the grace of God, are ready to start their journey, ready to start growing, ready to start studying, ready to start learning more about God, learning more about the Word. And they usually ask me, man, where do I start? And I'll tell them sometimes I'm like, you could go the traditional route and kind of read through the Bible from beginning to end. I said, you could start with the Gospels and start with Jesus because really that's what this whole thing is all about. But I also tell people equally as much, man, why don't you start by studying your struggle?
Hmm.
And whatever you're struggling with right now, because that's probably what brought you to the place of really wanting to go deeper in God, right? Most, a lot of times, man, life something happens that makes us realize, oh my goodness, I can't do it by myself like I thought, and it points us towards the Lord. And I found, man, that by telling people to study their struggle, it's a great starting point because they have an impetus to want to dig in and find out more about it already. It sends them into problem solving mode, and it also helps them to discover that the word has answers. And I think that it's so important, man, for all of us, particularly men, to be on a first name basis with their struggles. Your your
Hmm.
struggle, your struggle is a struggle because it's perfectly fit for you. And so if your struggle has already in some ways selected you, I'll just, kind of, metaphorically here, you need to be mindful of this thing that you are wrestling with. You need to be self-aware. Some of the fights that we fight would be much better fought if we never got into the ring in the first place. You know,
Hmm.
knowing that that's going to be a struggle, that keeps me from going to that place. That keeps me from entertaining that conversation. That keeps me from saying yes to that invitation to be with those friends, to go to that place or doing that thing. I think you got to be on a first name basis with your struggle, and nobody should know more about it than you. And when you do that, you position yourself to stay out of the pit before you fall in. And
That's
so I,
it.
I think that it's so important, man, for people to know what their struggles are for that reason.
That's good. That's good, man. Yeah. We yeah. I just think about the body of Christ and us understanding because we're all leaders, meaning that when I think about leaders, we're influencing somebody,
Absolutely.
and we can better influence people when we know who we are, our strengths, our flaws. Because, like you said, those when we have those struggles, we need to prevent ourselves from getting in those things so we can make sure that we have the right type of influence on people. Because if people see you
Absolutely.
struggling the wrong way, it ain't good.
No, absolutely. And I also think though, to your point, I think what we see in scripture is it's okay for people to see you struggle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean, God basically, the book is like, let me show you the leaders I chose and how they struggled. You know what I mean? That's the Bible. Let me show you the people I chose to use and
That's
how they struggled.
good.
And
Yeah.
and uh and so I think that there is something that is really important about sharing our struggles in appropriate ways, man. But you do have to, when people look at you, they got to see you fighting through it in the right way. And
Right.
that's what I
Right.
think is so critical about what you're saying.
Right, right. That's good. That's good. What as a man, how do you go about defining your personal wins, maybe wins for your family? Is there a certain way that you kind of help define what that win looks like for you all and for you as a man?
Yeah, I think honestly, in all of those categories, it's very similar for me. It's are we in line with what we sense to be God's will for us right now? Am I walking in the will? Like, it's like that piece we were talking about before. I think I've not think I'm grateful that I've grown to the place where I don't have to be the first one to cross the finish line anymore or get the trophy or get first
Mm,
place. But I want to know that I'm moving in line with God's will. And I want to know that we're making the decisions that we need to make in order to stay in His will. I want to know that. I want to know what He wants from us. And I want to know whether or not we're doing our best to walk in line with it. Because for me, if we're doing that, we're gonna win. If I'm doing that, I'm gonna win. Whether the outcome looks like I may want it to look, his will is going to be accomplished. His will is always what's best for me. I believe that fundamentally. I believe that his will is always what's best for my family, always what's best for my son, for my wife, for me, for the ministry, whatever the category may be. So for me, the fight is always, what is your will? And are we doing the best that we can to walk in line with it?
But Pastor O, how do I know what his will is for my life? How do I get there? I hear what you're saying. But how
Yeah,
do I know? Because it feels right. What you're saying to me feels right. But as a man, how do I know what that will is? What does that look like?
that's so good, man. I think that one of the things that I feel to be really called actually to do at this point in my ministry is to do this on a with our church. Whenever God can give me a chance to, whatever way I can. But I think we got to remind people, man, that God is a being. I wouldn't say he's a person because he's not a person, right? He's a being though. And he has a presence. And in order for someone to have a presence, you have to be able to get in that presence. You can be, I can come into your presence if I enter your home and you're there. I'm in your presence. That means I'm close to you. And I think that one of the things that I've learned, if you want to know what God's will is, you got to get to know him. You just do. You got to spend time with him. It's unavoidable. I like, people are looking for like the magic potion or pill, but it ain't one, man. You just got to spend time with him. The reason that I know what my wife likes and doesn't like is because I've spent enough time with her to know that.
Mm,
The reason I know what my son likes and doesn't like is because I spent enough time with him to know that. I'm getting to know you. I don't yet know what you
right,
like and what you don't like. But
right.
I know that if I put in time, if we were to build relationship, you start coming out, we hanging out together. I come over your house. I see how you moving. The more time spent is the more knowledge that we gain. And the better I know you, the better I know what you will and won't like. It can get to a point. Here's what's crazy, and this is what happens with our walk. It will get to the point where now I know when my wife's birthday comes around, I know what gifts will hit and won't hit without even asking her. Why? Because I've spent so much time with her.
Yeah,
I know what she likes and what she doesn't like.
yeah,
And that's the same thing that's true for God, man. We can't get away from spending time with him. We got to
yeah,
spend time with him. And
right.
the more we spend time with him, the more we begin to understand what he desires. It's that passage from the Psalms. If you delight yourself in the Lord,
Come
he'll
on, he'll
give you
get
the
his
desires
desire.
of your heart. And
Yeah,
I think what that passage means, if we look at it selfishly, if is he gonna give you what you desire. But what I think that passage is actually trying to communicate is that what he will start to do is cultivate the actual desires that reside in your heart, so that the desires that reside in your heart are the same desires that reside in his. And that's how you know, man. You just gotta spend time with him, man.
that's good, man. Yeah, God tricks you with that verse, man. When I first read that verse, I was like, yeah, man, I'm about to delight myself in him. He gonna give me desire. Then the more I delight myself in him, the more my desire. I'm like, wait a second. I used to
Yeah,
desire X, and now
yeah.
it's like I don't even want that no more, man. But that's over time, spending time with him, that delighting yourself in him. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
good. Also, Romans 12:1 and 2, where
Hmm.
it talks about that transformation happening. Then he says, you'll know my good and perfect will. That's out of that renewing of your mind, that spending time, that you becoming a living sacrifice for him and doing his will. And yeah, man, no, that's good. And I think the struggle though for us sometimes is like there's still that Galatians 5:19 where it talks about the flesh, right? It goes into the fruits of the spirit. I think that the struggle is we think that all of a sudden now we're not gonna have this battle. So now it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But really, the truth is, like, no, that's the right thing. Your flesh is definitely leading you wrong, but you still gonna have that battle. And I think maybe that's what we struggle with as men.
I think that battle is going to consistently be there. I mean, I think that looking at Paul and what he's writing, man, when I would do good, evil is right there with me. I mean, that battle
Yeah,
is going to be a consistent battle that we're going to wage. I don't think that's a battle that we get the victory over until we leave this life, to be quite honest with
Right.
you. I think we're going to be wrestling with some things all the way through. We can get
Yeah.
stronger when it comes to dealing with certain struggles. But I think, again, to cite Paul once more, I mean, Paul realizes, man, God, I got this struggle with this thing he refers to as a thorn that God brilliantly leaves unnamed so we can substitute whatever we want to and put it in there. And he says, man, God, okay, dude, like, I don't want to struggle with this no more. I know you can take it from me. Come on. And God's like, man, I'm gonna leave you with that one, Slim. and,
Yeah, because you ain't gonna know how to act if I don't take
you
it.
ain't gonna know how to act. And so,
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, sometimes, man, the fight is just to remain in the fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
And the fact that you are still fighting to overcome and to press through and to resist is a win in of itself.
for sure. We talked about working hard earlier, and I think kudos to men. Sometimes we can work too hard. How do you manage that to balance the hard work versus just um, man enjoying God, spending time in His presence, and spending time with your family, investing in
Yeah,
your son, friends. Like, what does that look like? How do you balance that?
that's good. Getting to a place where I prioritize that for me was first understanding that it mattered to God, you know. Um, and I talk, I worked my first book last year, and it's on relation, it's on marriage. And one of the things I talk about in the book is how men oftentimes struggle with this balance between provision and presence. Like,
Mm,
we get so caught up in grinding and trying to provide that a lot of times being present with our families, just being present with ourselves, it takes a back seat. But what I see in scripture, man, for me, I see that God places a huge amount of emphasis on rest and just being present and being still, and understanding that that is a task to be accomplished in and of itself. Um, that there is something that happens there. So for me, with my family now, to kind of say it practically, I asked my wife, man, like, hey, how much time do you feel like you need with me? Like give me a number. I say a lot of times, man, I think men need recipes. Like, look,
yeah.
make it simple, man. Don't tell me make it sweeter. Tell me to put 6 teaspoons of granulated sugar in this thing so I know exactly what to do. So I ask, man, like, hey, babe, how much time you feel like you need? You need, like, is 2 hours every day enough? Is 3 hours, enough? I ask so I know what to aim for. You know what I mean? And then I try to put up boundaries in place so that I honor that commitment just like I would any other. And I do the same thing, with my son, man. What do you want to do this week, man? You want to do anything? And I ask, and I try to make sure that I'm prioritizing what their needs are in the same way that I would in others.
I love it. Just super practical. Just ask. And then you can build a plan around that. Then you can come back and now you have something to evaluate too. Like, all right, hey, the last month or so, I've been spending 3 or 4 hours doing certain things. Has that? How do you feel? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel like there's more to it? Um, I love that. Yeah, and I think one of the things I always preach is couple meetings. Like, have couple
Yeah,
meetings with your partner, your spouse. Sit down, have an agenda, be able to ask the hard questions, and try to be as consistent with that as possible. Because, I mean, I just think those are just real things that we should be doing. Which again,
agreed.
we don't grow up this way. We don't grow up seeing it, so it doesn't feel natural. But I think there's just some things we missed out on just because our parents sometimes just didn't know those things. So, and like
Yep,
you, I have
yep.
great parents. I have great
Hmm.
family, but it's just some things they did. And my kids are doing me that way now. My kids are adults. Dad, you just didn't teach me how to do X, Y, Z. I'm like, my bad. My bad. I was
No, man, I think you're right on it, man. And I'll tell you, one of the hardest learning curves that I had in my life as a man was realizing and accepting that my father is a man. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. I mean, for real, man, that was a big
yeah.
deal. Like, like
Yeah.
I had to accept, man, dude, he's just a man. He's just a man just like me. He's probably doing the best he could with what he had. I mean, I know he loved me. I know he did his best to care for and raise. I know he gave me the best of, everything that he could. he
Yeah.
did the best with what man, he's a man too, and
Yeah.
just accepting that was a big deal because it allowed me to give grace and also to give myself grace, man. And I'll tell you, along that line, one of the things I do with my son now that my dad didn't do with me, again, just being a product of his generation, I apologize to my son all the time.
Oh,
Like, bro, all
yeah.
the time, man. I apologize all the time. And sometimes I'll even go as far as to say to him, man, look, I want you to know I'm really trying my best. And I know that what you're going to discover as you get older is that even with me trying my best, some of what I'm doing is not what you're going to choose to do. And I'm like, man, that's okay. Take
Hmm.
the best of what I give you, leave the worst, and be better. You know what I mean? But just know, man, I'm sorry if I made a mistake. I'm sorry if I pushed too hard. I'm sorry if I this or that. Just know, man, I'm doing the best that I can to be your dad, and I want you to know that I'm always giving my best.
No, that's good. My kids get out of some real troubles because I had to apologize because I didn't teach them. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I can't do nothing to you this time, but the next time, like this is my fault you in this situation because I didn't do a good job. But next time, because all the time we just it slips our mind, or we didn't have the system in place, the structure in place, whatever, to convey whatever, or I just didn't know, I was ignorant to it. And so, but yeah, it's been many times my kids got out of stuff because I had to come and apologize because I was like, I can't do that to them. I didn't even teach them.
You got, yeah, I know, man, I know. Here's your freebie. Use it well.
Yeah, 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 yes, yes, yeah. Now it had to be something really crazy. Like sometimes you just got to go ahead and give it to them. But man, very rarely did I do that, man. What to be the man that you feel like God's called you to be? What are some things practically that you do consistently? What are those right things that you try to show up and do every day, or weekly, or monthly? What are some of those things for you?
That's good. Uh, I try to maintain a consistent rhythm of study. I try to study. I try to. This is a unique challenge for pastors. Everyone who listens may not identify with this, but I hope that they will still kind of hear the heart of what I'm sharing. I try to make sure that I'm not studying to preach. I try to make sure I'm studying to live. And I've learned as a pastor, it can be really easy to open up the Bible and be looking for what it is that God is calling you to share with people, and miss what God is calling, trying to share with you about you, so
Yeah.
you can grow. So, a consistent pattern of study is for me just making sure I'm hitting the Word every day, just touching it. I I find that keeping my physical body in shape is really important for me. What I eat, what I drink. I try to be mindful of learning about what is and isn't healthy, man. As we're learning more things about what we put in our bodies, I try to make adjustments. My grandmother lived to be 96, and I talk about her all the time because she lived by herself and walked up and down the steps every day. And one of the things she told me was, when you learn new things, put them into practice. And so when I
Mm.
learn new things about, my health and my body, man, I try to make quick adjustments and put them into practice. I try to be in the gym on a consistent basis, to let out whatever I need to let out, and to make sure that I'm working out in the ways that I need to work out. And I also have the practice, man, of talking very vulnerably with close friends. Not a lot of folks I do that with, but I got a couple of people I can call and tell how I'm really thinking about a thing, what I'm really experiencing, what I'm really fighting, what I'm really worried or anxious about, what I'm afraid of, what I'm challenged by, and just allowing them to breathe into it, and to share into it, and to hold me accountable for how I'm handling it. Those things are important in terms of kind of keeping me straight. Um, I'm teaching this course right now on discipleship at our church, and we were looking at the importance of community. Dr. Tim Keller talks about a few things that people need in order to grow and stay consistent in their growth spiritually. And he says one of them is being known. Like, somebody got to know you for who you are. They actually got to know you. So being known is critical. He says another one is to be challenged. You got to have people in your life, right, that are going to challenge you when you tell them what you're doing and how you think, and if it's wrong, they going to say something, right? You got to have challenge. He says you got to have encouragement, right? You got to have people who are pushing you because life is hard. And if you don't have somebody pushing you, life will start lifing, right? And then he says you also need, fourthly, you need accountability. And I think, when you have all four of those, and sometimes you get different things from different friends, but you need those in your life. And I'm grateful to have those coming from different places, whether it's mentors, my wife, or friends and family that see enough of me to hold me accountable. Yeah.
The going back to the people in your life that you said can kind of challenge you. Do you the other men? Do you have a schedule with a guy? Do you have coaching? Do you have counseling? Is it a mixture of those, or just close friends? How did have you developed some of these, and what is the
For
frequency in meeting?
all of the above. I think all humans need a doctor. I think all humans need a dentist. I think all humans need a pastor. And I think all humans need a therapist. I do. I just do, man. I think they all do.
That's the four.
And
That's the
doctor, dentist, pastor, and therapist, man. You know, yeah, man, for real. I'm
we
serious. I'm
got
dead
it, John
serious, man.
Down.
I'm dead serious, man. Doctor, dentist, pastor, and therapist. And so for me, my therapist is a monthly hit, and sometimes even more if I need it, depending on what life is doing. And that's something I talk about openly, and I think it's been transformative for me. And even for my wife and I, man, we do work with our therapist monthly too. So just to kind of throw that in, I'm a part of a cohort of pastors, and we get together throughout the year at different times. That's kind of scheduled, based on kind of the schedule that we have set up. And we actually just got back, my wife and I, from a retreat with about 20 pastors from all over the country. And so just having a chance to plug in with them is something that we do on a regular basis a few times a year. I got friends that I make sure I talk to on a weekly basis, and they hold me accountable in that kind of a way. And so it's that kind of that combination for me that hits and that holds me to where I am and where I need to be. And if I need help, man, I reach out. I'll reach out to a mentor real quick, man, and say, hey, man, can I get 10, 15 minutes or,
Yeah,
whatever's needed at that time.
that's good, man. The last question, because we're about out of time here. I think this is probably one of the more important questions that's really been asking men is how do older men, how do we get better at helping younger men find their purpose in life? Because I think we often talk about investing our best in the next generation. Um, I think about Israel going, like they just going in circles for 40 years. A lot of like God telling them they didn't hand down the right things to the next generation, things like that. What are some ways, or how are you thinking about making sure that men are intentional about investing in young men?
I would answer that question like this. I think one of the biggest struggles that men have that holds them back, to talk about what we were talking about earlier, actually, in some ways, is to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. I think men really struggle with saying, I need help. I think men struggle with saying, I need help relationally. If their marriage is, jacked up, it's hard for men to reach out and say, I need help with my marriage. I think it's hard for men to reach out and say, I need help, you know, finding this or getting to that. And so I think one of the best things that we can do for the generation that's coming up after us is actually asking the question to make it easier for them. Man, what can I help you with? What do you need help learning, man? What who who can I help to connect you with? What do you need help getting into? What's the step that you need help taking? Where what's the thing that you've been wrestling with, like so many men, right? That's living up here that nobody knows about but you carrying it every single day, and that thing is eating you alive on the inside. What can I help you with? I'm not gonna judge you for sharing it. I'm not gonna belittle you for sharing it. How can I help you? Um, I think that it takes the assumption out of it, right? and it allows us to pinpoint how we can show up in another brother's life in a meaningful way with a lot more accuracy. And hopefully, what that also does is create the bridge for actual meaningful relationship that will be needed for that not just to be a one time instance in which you are showing up in a younger brother's life. But I've learned that once people know they can get help from a source, they'll go back to that source.
Mm.
And so maybe that's a way to begin to build enough relationship that you can help a brother get guided to where he needs to be.
That's good. That's really good. I love that. It's almost like once you take them to the water, what is it? How does it like?
Right.
Like they gonna know where to go back. You know, that's I don't know. That's where that came from. But that's what it reminds me of. That makes so much sense. That's good,
Thanks,
man. Omar, you got any last thoughts you want to share with the man? Like what do you want to share with us? Any last?
Man, no, man. I think this fantastic. I'll say this, man. This might sound simple, man. Have fun, brothers. Have fun, man. Life can be hard, man, and lots of struggle can be out there. And sometimes we get so plugged into working and grinding and trying to get to where it is, and we feel that we need to be, that we forget all about fun. Don't forget about fun. Enjoy it. I probably get in trouble for saying this, especially amongst preachers, but I wonder if the reason that Jesus' first miracle was turning water into wine was just because he wanted them to have fun, man. I mean, I wonder if he was saying, man, look, just have fun. I don't want you to forget about joy. And so,
loosen up.
Loosen up, man. Have some fun, man. It's okay to smile too. That's it, man.
That's it, man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for hitting that play button. Check out mojesus.org. Follow us on all the socials. You'll find those on our website as well. Omari, how do they find you? Where do people find you at?
Yeah. NewLifeNation.org is our church's website. New Life Church in Laurel, Maryland. We actually, depending on when you see this, later on this year, we're opening up a new location in Bowie, Maryland. So, but New Life Church in Maryland is where we are, where you can find me. You can contact me there on the website, and you can also find me on social at Rev Omari Hughes is my handle on social media.
What about your book?
Man, book. Man, oh, you know what? See, this shows you I'm a new author because seasoned dudes, they got the book ready. Hold on.
Yeah, they'd have been like this. They'd have been like this. Yeah.
Look, make them make sense. Is my first book. It's a practical guide for married couples. And so I hope that it's a blessing, and we're all over Amazon, man. So you can jump on the Amazon and grab the book there.
Good, man. We got to get you back on just to talk about the book, man, just so I can just see what we can take from it, man. So that's so good. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of Learning from Men podcast. I am on a mission to learn from men so I can better serve men. Our vision at Men of Jesus is better men, better families, better communities. God loves you. Go win.